Hola, estudiantes. This is Senora Merkel, and I am here to review possessive adjectives. So you should already have a possessive adjectives note guide that you filled out several weeks ago. And I'd like for you to have something to write with as well because we're just going to review parts of this and talk about it so you can begin to use it. And then I'm going to ask you to add a few notes on the back where there's a lot of blank space underneath the last practice activity. Okay, so possessive adjectives tell who owns something or describe a relationship between people or things. For example, in English, a possessive adjective could be my. My car is red. Okay, you're saying who possesses or owns the car. Another example would be your. He is your brother. Okay, so possessive adjectives show to whom something belongs. So here are the possessive adjectives in Spanish. Notice there's more than one way to say all of these. Okay, so we have a singular plural situation. We'll do some practice here in a minute. And if you notice on this part here, when you say our, there are actually 4 ways to say it. All right, so you'll notice that on your note guide, part B, you have these written down. So make sure you're using your note guide when you go to practice, okay? So to say my, it would be me or mis. Your familiar would be tu or tus. Your formal could be su or sus. His is su and sus, and her is su and sus. Notice that this can mean a lot of things, okay? It can also mean your plural or their, okay? And then finally, notice there are 4 ways to say our. Nuestro, nuestra, nuestros, and nuestras. I want you to notice that there are 4 ways with this one because it's not only singular and plural, but it's also masculine and feminine, okay? So we'll practice that here in a little bit. All right, so how to use these. In Spanish, all possessive adjectives agree in number with the noun they describe. So look here. My brother, mi hermano. My is singular because brother is singular. Okay, however, notice what happens in Spanish here. When you say brothers, if you want to say my brothers, you must make my plural as well. We do not do that in English, okay? So you would, instead of mi hermanos, you would say mis hermanos, okay? So the word that comes after, okay, the word here, hermanos, determines whether this possessive adjective is singular or plural. Okay, now I just said that, but notice that the noun after determines whether you use singular possessive adjective or plural. This should say plural. Okay, so look at this example here. Our house is nuestra casa. Our apartments would be nuestros apartamentos. So this example at the bottom not only shows you how the word for our can be used in a feminine masculine way, but also the fact that house is singular, we used a singular possessive, and apartments is plural, so we used a plural one. All right, let's do some practice together. This is not on your note guide. I'm just going to go through and tell you what each one of these would be and explain why. So bicicletas is plural for bicycles. So instead of using me, we would use mis. Okay, so this would be mis bicicletas, my bicycles. Okay, book is singular. If you want to say my book, you would use the singular my. So mi libro. Your soft drinks. Okay, so notice for your, we have 2 different ways. If we're doing familiar, we would either say tu or tus. And because this word refrescos is plural, we would use tus. In this case, mascota, you would use tu. Tu mascota would be your pet. Okay, their mother. Okay, so if we look at our note guide to say their, we would use su or sus. And because mother is singular, we would say su. And if you want to say his or her, you also need to use su or sus. So just remember, you look at this word here after the blank to determine whether you use the singular or plural. Okay, so his friends would be sus amigos because this is plural. And her pencil would be su lápiz because pencil is singular. All right, now I wanted to show you some examples with our. Remember, nuestro, nuestra, nuestros, and nuestras. All 4 of those words mean our. Okay, so look at the first example, casa. Casa is not only singular, but it's feminine, so we'd use nuestra casa. Baño is singular, but it's masculine, so instead of nuestra, we would use nuestro. Parientes, right? Relatives. That is plural. And it's also masculine because you would assume that relatives, there would be at least one male in the group. So we would go with nuestros And then the last one, our families, would be nuestras familias, because not only is families plural, but it is feminine. Okay, so here's a new concept. I'd like for you to use the space available to you on the back of your note guide to jot down a few notes, but just wait for me to let you know when to pause because you don't need to write a ton of stuff, okay? But possession with de. You guys have seen this word de before, okay? Remember, yo soy de Estados Unidos, right? I am from the United States, okay? The word de can also mean of, all right? So Spanish never utilizes the apostrophe. May not realize that, but they do not use an apostrophe, okay? Therefore, you cannot show possession the same way as you would in English. So look at this example. In English, you would say my friend's house to express the idea that the house belongs to your friend, right? You're showing possession. But you cannot use that same formula because in Spanish, there is no apostrophe. So let's look down here at the bottom. To express this concept in Spanish, you must flip the sentence around. All right, so instead of my friend's house, you flip it around and you would say the house of my friend. See, here's the example. The house of my friend. So notice you flipped it. You put the house in front and then friend at the end, okay? So let's hear it. To say of in Spanish, use the preposition de. Example, the house of my friend. You would then go ahead and put that in Spanish. La casa is the house, de is of, and my friend is mi amigo. So when you use the word de, don't forget, if it's followed by the word el, it always has to form a contraction. So you may see that, okay, as we practice. So let's look at these examples using possession with de. If you want to say Brandon's apartment, remember we can't use the apostrophe, okay? So we flip the sentence around and say the apartment of Brandon. Same thing with Sally's house. We would say the house of Sally. The boys' school would be the school of the boy, and the girls' library would be the library of the girl. So then we would use that formula to translate to Spanish, okay? So the boy's apartment or Brandon's apartment would be el apartamento de Brandon. Sally's house would be la casa de Sally. The boys' school would be la casa del chico. Remember, de plus el is del. And the library of the girl or the girl's library would be la biblioteca de la chica. I would like for you to pause the video and write down these examples. Okay, I want you to write Brandon's apartment equals the apartment of Brandon. And then finally include the translation, el apartamento de Brandon. Okay, when you're done, you can go ahead and get to work on your Canvas assignment. Gracias. Adios.